Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for our Justice in June Connecting Impacted Communities webinar series. As I've mentioned a few times, we are so grateful that you are spending this time with us. And this month, we are hosting conversations focused on community-led solutions. I invite you all to check out our Justice in June Connecting Impacted Communities event page to learn more. We will gather in this space most Thursday nights in June at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we will keep the conversation going with environmental justice leaders, climate activists, and frontline community members who are eager to share their personal stories with you. You will hear from those on the ground fighting back against biomass, learn about our regional network of partners pushing for policy change, and together, we will reimagine what a healthy, prosperous economy looks like through land conservation. I will drop a link in the chat where you can learn more and register. It's also on your screen right now. So I am excited to announce that to demonstrate our appreciation for having you join this evening, you will be entered into a drawing to win some Dogwood merchandise. We will notify winners in the next week or so, so keep your eyes peeled for an email to let you know that you are a winner. And finally, if you learned something new today, if you feel moved today, I invite you to please share our recording and event opportunities with others who care about climate justice. We are recording this session and plan to share the recording with all registrants. We will make space for a question and answer session at the end. The Q&A is open. If you have any questions for our hosts or panelists at any time, please drop them in the Q&A and I will do my best to answer pressing questions in real time and hold some questions for the Q&A session. As I mentioned, the chat is visible only to hosts and panelists for security reasons, but feel free to message us in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. I'll be one of your hosts. My name is Adele Alamo. I'm the digital organizer for Dogwood Alliance, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. Dogwood Alliance is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and for over 25 years, Dogwood Alliance has fought threats to our forests and frontline communities. We promote forest protection as the best solution to climate change. We partner with communities across the southern US to develop economic solutions that work with and for our forests. Our mission is to advance environmental justice and climate action by mobilizing diverse voices to protect southern forests and communities from industrial logging. We work in 14 states across the Southeast, and our headquarters are in Asheville, North Carolina. And so since we will be talking about biomass tonight, I do want to give a quick word to explain what is biomass and why we are fighting to stop it. Biomass is sometimes called bioenergy, wood pellets, woody biomass, and more. It's when you use living materials, such as trees, and burn them as an energy source. On an industrial scale, biomass companies cut down our standing natural forests, transport the logs to plants where they are converted into wood pellets, and then they are shipped overseas to places like Europe or Asia. And that's where our forests are burned in energy plants as an alternative to coal. Some claim that this is a clean, renewable energy source because trees grow back. But biomass is not clean or green, and it actually releases more carbon into the atmosphere than coal does. Biomass plants are routinely located in the US South, specifically in under-resourced, predominantly Black and Indigenous communities. On this map, the blue dots show where biomass facilities are located, and the orange squares show environmental justice communities. Biomass plants are twice as likely to be located in environmental justice communities. Biomass plants run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Local residents never get a break from the constant noise, dust, heavy truck traffic, and pollution. People living next to pellet plants often have lower life expectancy and poorer health. For all those reasons and more, biomass is an environmental justice issue. As you can see from this map, the history and legacy of extracting from and harming Black people in this region has gone on for centuries. It's a pattern that keeps repeating. It tells us a story of who is continuously sacrificed in the name of economic progress for some. But I don't want to take up too much time. I want to get to the heart of the issue, and that's the people. Tonight, we are joined by those working on the ground to organize and strategize to fight environmental injustices. We are joined by those pushing to change policies. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, Erniko Brown. Erniko is Dogwood Alliance's Director of Organizing and Partnership Engagement. She is also the Soil and Water Commissioner of Greenwood, South Carolina. She is the Environmental and Climate Justice Chair for the South Carolina NAACP State Conference, and she is the Executive Director and founder of the nonprofit OURS, which stands for Organized Uplifting Resources and Strategies. So with that, Erniko, please take it away.
Thank you, Adele. Good evening, everybody, and thank you all for joining us. This is yet another night in our series that we've been having. Actually, since April, we did an Earth Day with Miss Kathy, and then we did the May Day Biomass series in May. And so June, we're standing in for Justice. And so this conversation this evening is with all of our partners, where many of our partners across the Southeast. We have Miss Kathy Eglin with us. We have Reverend Malcolm with us. We have Dr. Treva with us. And we also have Brandy Hamilton with us. And tonight we just really take a moment for Miss Belinda Joyner. There's a storm in North Carolina, so she won't be with us tonight, but she's definitely in our prayers. She was supposed to be a panelist as well. And so we're continuing the conversation around justice in June. And so what we're talking about this evening will encompass regional strategies, and people will talk from different perspectives about the things that are most important to them and what keep them at the heart of this work, and how we all are connected from various different points in this work and doing this work together. And so first we'll have Miss Kathy, and then we'll have, let me make sure I got everybody's. Sorry. We'll start with Miss Kathy, then we'll have Dr. Treva, then we'll speak with Brandy, the freedom fighter, and then we'll have Reverend Malcolm. So Miss Kathy, it's on to you.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us for Justice in June. Just want to note that we want justice in July, August, September. We want justice all year round, but we want to focus on it tonight. It's kicking off in June because it is so important. And why is this issue so important? The issue that I'm going to discuss briefly, and then I'm going to allow the other panelists to continue. This is urgent because time is not on our side. Time is not on our side as far as it relates to the climate crisis. Time is not on our side as it relates to retention of our forests. Once trees are gone, they're gone. And it will take from 30 to 100 plus years for trees to regrow. And we simply don't have that amount of time on our side. So what does race have to do with all of this? Let's take a look at the maps again, Adele. Put those maps up. I want first to put up the map where we have the, okay, the maps with the biomass and EJ communities. Because I don't want anyone to take my word for this. I have better things to do every day than to go take my time to go around looking for issues to attribute racist accusations. We didn't create racial issues, but we're duty bound to keep uplifting our voices to demand justice. So if you look at these, and as Adele had mentioned earlier, you will see that those little, you'll see the environmental justice communities, and you will see where the overwhelming majority of the biomass facilities are located. I'm hoping that one day we can actually get the data from where these dots are located. But I can tell you this, that one picture is worth 1,000 words. These are the same states Adele, if you go back to the other map that you showed us, that were the former cotton production state. And the cotton production was fueled by slaves. You can go back to the map with the environmental justice communities. So you can just see for yourself. These are also the same states with the highest poverty rates. These are also the same states with the highest percentages of African Americans. So it's very important for us to look at this issue from a human rights, social justice perspective, because these, and I don't even like to call them solutions at all. So I'm going to say these deceptive practices, these false schemes, these deceptive schemes that tell us that they are to help promote our climate, are all rooted in greed, in corporate greed. They have no intentions. They know that it will not help solve the climate crisis. And they also know that it will be polluting mostly low income, Black and brown communities. And they do this because from slavery and even before, we know that we have been the sacrifice community and we will no longer accept that. So one of the things that I'd like to talk a little bit about before turning this over is the fact that we have other countries doing this. I just maybe an hour or so ago got off a plane and ran into my hotel room to do this, where I left an international climate conference. And I've been so frustrated because every time I bring up the issue of wood biomass, I'll get this feedback from people saying, well, that sounds like a regulatory problem in your country, or we've got to do something. We can't keep using fossil fuels. And, I'm basically almost given up. I'll bring it up and I'll say what I need to say about it. But I know that this fight, there are so few of us in this fight that we have to continue, because a lot of people just will not look at it from the perspective of humans or people. A lot of people are just interested in policies, and these, it doesn't matter. And so usually what I say, even if you care about the policy on this, it is not getting us to the 1.5 C that we desperately need to get. And I don't understand why people can know so much about policy, but when the science comes out and it shows that we are not lowering the Earth's temperature, the atmosphere, we actually got higher. And so, and I always say that this fuzzy math that people are doing on paper, our science does not agree with it. You cannot fool our atmosphere. And so we're getting warmer. We're not getting cooler as we need to be. And again, time is not on our side for this. I think I'm going to stop here maybe because I think Adele has given us enough of a background, and then I'll chime in after everyone else finishes, or Nika during the question and answer section.
Thank you, Ms. Kathy, for that. And next we'll have Dr. Treva.
All right, thank you. It's great to be with you all this evening. First, I'll start by talking a little bit about where we're at in Ado, Georgia, and some of our experiences as an EJ community, and where we are at in the power of collaboration, and what you can do with the power of a petition as well, and looking at Title VI. So as Ms. Kathy just talked about where those EJ communities are, well, where is the relief? Currently under the federal administration, we have things like EJ initiatives like Environmental Justice for All. We have our Department of Justice, who has added an environmental justice department. Also, the Department of Health and Human Services has added an environmental justice department as well, a portion, our subgroup. However, what is actually being done? So Ado, Georgia, a small southern town in South Georgia, about 30 miles north of Florida. And here we are with an abundance of polluting industries, air pollution, noise pollution, potential groundwater pollution, of old industries from the past. We have a sordid past with the wood pellet, with the wood industry in general. So what we have is 2 wood pellet plants sat down and decide they want to come to Adel. And why? We fit the description of what Miss Kathy talked about. We're predominantly African-American community, high poverty, and of course, we're in the southeastern United States with an abundant with trees that are being harvested at a greater rate than the Amazon rainforest. However, many people don't know that. So we've challenged these permits on multiple phases, and here we are trying to battle the current pollution that's occurring from like a propane refurbishing company that you can smell the ethyl mercaptan from. That we're dealing with. And then we get one permit that's granted by the EPD for renewable biomass that was granted in January 2021. And then secondly, on top of that, in October, we have another pellet plant that would be the largest in the world, Spectrum Energy, who decides they want to come and sit directly in the community. I'm talking about rat dab across the street. You can look from your house and see it, just like what we've seen in North Carolina and other places in Mississippi. So where is our relief? Neither of those industries are there yet. The Spectrum Energy plant has not even received their permit. We commented on the air permit. However, I'll talk about the power of collaboration and where that has brought us. People, you cannot stay quiet. Like they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, you have to fight. You have to partner with as many people as you can partner with. We partner with Dogwood Alliance. We partner with Georgia Conservation Voters. And that's how we got our documentary, Abandoned, Greed, Neglect, and Environmental Injustice in Adel. You have to check it out. And also looking at our partnerships through those groups with Anthropocene Alliance. And the list goes on, but it's also important to partner with those in your community. And we're looking yet to partner with communities around us who are like us, because there is power in our presence. And together we can make it better. But it's a long haul. So there have been petitions that were set out, and we made some inroads because of those, the group efforts and the collaboration. Again, continuing to reach out, spread the word. You have to be like Paul Revere. Tell everybody that you can what's going on with you so that they can help you, so that they don't become a victim to the same atrocities that you were dealing with in your community. Because I'm telling you, it might not be you today, but it could be your community tomorrow. So moving forward with that, we made some steps with the loss of the EPA put out some IG reports saying that the EPD wasn't in compliance with federal law in the commenting process on the final permit. However, it moves to something else. Here we are an environmental justice community, and we're still having these permits even considered. So that brings us to the potential. What is Title VI, you might ask? Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 says that it ensures that each federal agency shall ensure that all programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance that affect human health or the environment do not directly or through contractual or other arrangements use criteria, methods, or practices that discriminate on the basis of race, color, or national origin. Okay, let me simplify that for you. You can't use federal funds if you're an agency. You can't use federal funds to ultimately let communities of color and other groups specifically be disproportionately overburdened by pollution in your enforcement and your permitting, any of those things. So how do we make sure that happens? Well, I'll tell you this, it goes even further. Under an executive order that was put out in 1994 to add to this, it talks about that the EPA has a responsibility to ensure that its funds are not being used to subsidize discrimination based on any of those things that I mentioned already before. So what now? So Title VI sits in the bay that we don't hear often. We don't hear about it often, but it is an option for cities, environmental justice communities like Adel, Georgia. When you've tried everything and some things have failed, you've made some cracks in the wall. Yes, try Jesus, but however, and that's different. I know y'all heard that song for those Southern, but if you're Southern Baptist or anybody that in a Southern church, however, the thing is that that is a option for relief. And what you have to prove pretty much is that there is disparate impact. And we know that there's disparate impact in these communities, but many don't have the resources. That's where it means it causes us to reach out to even the Southern Environmental Law Center, the SEOC, Environmental Integrity Project, because these are things that are on the book that can protect us, can help us fight as a last resort. Finally, I'm going to read this from President John F. Kennedy. So for those of you who are in EJ community, this offers some potential relief for you when you've tried everything and called everybody and showed up and petitioned everything. Simple justice requires that public funds, to which all taxpayers of all races, not be spent in any fashion which encourages, entrenches, subsidizes, or results in racial discrimination. That's President John F. Kennedy in 1963. Here we are in 2022. We have work to do. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Treva, for that and for touching on Adel County and your experiences there. Next, we have Brandy, a freedom fighter, who will talk about communities and why it is our duty to fight for our freedom.
Brandy, honey, you're muted.
Hey y'all, my bad. All right. I said thank you. That was new to me, so thank you. So like Nico said, I'll be talking about why it's necessary for us to fight. So, of course, because it's worth fighting for. So especially down where we've been in Gloucester, Mississippi, what they're fighting for is for clean air and the freedom to breathe clean air that is not polluted and to have their forests intact, and for their health, their well-being, for our planet. And so to answer the question a little further, I go to the quote by a revolutionary who I look up to and admire, Assata Shakur, and she said, "It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and we must support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains." So that answers it. It's our duty. And I forget who said the quote, but the service our service is the rent we pay. So like it's just our duty. Different ways that we can fight. Doc talked about that just now. We can organize, which organizers do, get on the ground and canvas, mobilize, petition our government, for change, raise holy hell and cause good trouble, like Rev always talks about. But it's just our duty. Like when we see communities impacted in such a way, when we see Black folks being bamboozled, and when these big corporations like Drax come in and promise folks who are economically oppressed that they'll be bringing high-paying jobs and that would lead to financial security, and it doesn't. And instead it leads to them having no forests and being polluted and getting sick and some folks dying. That's what we're up against. That's what we fight. It becomes clear when you are on the ground, like in all these communities in Virginia and North Carolina and Louisiana and South Carolina and Mississippi, when you see the toll it's taken on the people there and the people who look like us. And so we fight just because it's unjust that they're able to come from the UK and other countries where they keep their forests intact, where they make sure that their people can enjoy clean air. And then they come in the same places, like Miss Kathy said, where cotton was grown, where our ancestors had to toil in the fields. In these same areas, now, here we have biomass factories. And so it's worth fighting for our future, the health of our elders, the health of the animals, and just to have forests where we can breathe clean air is worth fighting for. So we fight because it's our duty. I don't have much else to add. Just it's our duty. So we do what we can for as long as we can to make sure that we can breathe and that that the planet doesn't implode, because time is of the essence and it's not on our side. Whoever else is next, Rev.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for that. And next we will have Reverend Malcolm.
Can I share my screen?
Should be able to.
All right.
Rev.
Let me see if I can do that. Y'all bear with me here. Can you see that? Can you see my screen? Okay. And boom, and boom. Hey, I'm in the game, y'all. And I'm going to share my sound. Okay. Let's see if I can make this work, y'all. So I want to talk tonight about environmental stressors. I was asked to speak about environmental justice, and community. And there's no better description, as I've shown you all before or told you all before on the last time we talked. There's no better description than what we've already seen in Gloucester, Mississippi, as well as Louisiana and Bond, Mississippi, and some of the other places throughout our Southeast region or throughout our Southern region and the Gulf South who are facing this biomass issue. And what you have in front of you is a community who's got a biomass plant literally looming right in the back of them. This is Blackman Hole that I spoke about on last week. And as you can tell, there's this white smoke that's continually billowing 24/7. And if you look, you'll see on the other picture, you'll see big, giant, big rigs that are in the air on wraps because they are being filled up. And this is a 24/7 operation. And here's what I need you to see. I meant to black that tag out, but nevertheless I didn't, because I needed you to see that somebody actually lives there. Somebody actually lives there. They actually drive that car. They actually have that other car. But look in between those cars, y'all. Look in between those cars. Do you see what I see? Somebody lives there. And they're experiencing this environmental stressor. These environmental stressors 24/7. 24/7. Let's see. Okay. While we are facing the severity of thunderstorms and hurricanes, while they are expanding more and more, and we have to face this all-looming threat of flooding from what we've created, even to the point, y'all, that our homes aren't holding up to the threat. We aren't safe in our homes. And the thing that we're supposed to have that's the barrier to cut out the flooding, to help us to be able to break down the winds, is our trees. But they're taking our trees. We suffer from all kind of environmental pollution, whether they be industrial pollution because of fossil fuel and oil and waste, or whether they be of our trees. We are still suffering. I want y'all to take a listen at this real quick. Let me know if you can hear it.
Wow. Maybe that needs to be the first question you ask them. Why are you afraid to talk?
Change the fact.
Community that's been impacted as bad as you say, why is that?
Because you got on Facebook
I got
after the
that.
fact, and you
Mr. Mayor, come on now. Let's be clear.
No, I told you.
Let's be clear.
No, you didn't tell me anything. You took to
Would you
Facebook.
shut up?
Would you
lost.
shut up?
You lost.
Would you shut up?
You lost. That is a little take that privilege.
I mean, what do you have for mean, first of all, I'm already living in fear. I'm living in fear because I can't breathe. And if you can't breathe, you can't live.
That's right.
So I'm not scared to tell nobody that I'm having difficulties breathing. Every night I go to bed, I'm praying and I'm asking God to please let me wake up in the morning. I go to bed every night. I have to sleep with oxygen. Everybody want to say, well, you was already sick. This is different.
Smell like you're in a paper mill.
I want y'all to see the fact that people live in these homes right behind or right in front of this. This is not a vacant home. This is a live home. Somebody lives there. And this is what they live by. What are we doing? Where's our care? Where's our compassion?
Beloved, this is what they see 24/7. When they leave their house in the morning, they say goodbye to this plant. When they come in the evening, after having some reprieve, they come back home to settle in their home. And that's what they have to say hello to. And that's what they live in. I told you last week, there are places, if you look, where the roof is missing, but people live there. People live there. We can try our best to save the planet. People live there. I need y'all to really, really hear that. We can do all we can to bring down emissions. People live there. If you help those people, you'll heal the planet. If you help those people, you'll heal the planet. Because people live there. And the reason I keep saying that, the reason I keep bringing that in is because this is not just happening in Gloucester, Mississippi. It's also happening in Louisiana. Right now, Louisiana is under this threat. And Alabama is under this threat. Mississippi is under this threat. Georgia is under this threat. South Carolina is under this threat. North Carolina lives under this threat. And people live there. They're taking our trees, cutting our trees up, tipping them off for other countries to use. And it's our people that suffer because people live there. But I thank God for people like a Brandy and like a Nico and like a Dogwood Alliance and like a Echo and like so many others in community that will jump up and get out and say, we understand that people live there. Let's go talk to the people that live there to see if we can't get them to help us to fight for them in their journey. And they began to fight and they began to come together and they began to rally together, y'all. And together we will win, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Thank you. God bless.
And this is why we do what we do, because the people matter. This is why we're in communities each and every week. This is why we're having this conversation, because the people matter. We're reaching out to all communities across the Southeast because we are the sacrifice zone. And just to his point, Reverend Malcolm's point, we matter. We represent states across here. We have tonight South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina. This is why we're here, because we feel like all of you matter. This is why we're doing this work, because we all matter. We all are breathing the same air. We all are taking on the same things. We all are fighting the same fight. We're fighting this together. This is exactly why we're here and why we do what we do. So thank you, Reverend Malcolm, for that. Thank you, Dr. Treva, for yours. Thank you, Brandy, for yours. Thank you, Miss Kathy, for yours. And even Adele, my heart to you. Thank you for being in this fight with us. We don't just fight on the ground, we fight digitally. This is why we're out here doing exactly what we're doing, because it matters not just for me, but it matters for you. It matters because we live here. We live in the sacrifice zone. We're the ones who have to live and breathe in this while things are going on. This is why we're here. This is why we have you here with us, because we matter. Brothers and sisters, we matter, and this is why we are in this fight. This is why we're doing all that we're doing, because we matter. Not only us here, but the thousands and millions across the Southeast who are in this with us. These injustices, they are compound injustices in our communities. And we're looking to take on this fight. We're looking to stand together, unified as one unit, one nation for this nation. And we're going to stand this fight, and it's a damn hard fight, but we're going to do it. We're going to take it on, and we're going to continue to fight this good fight, because it's exactly what our legacy has given to us. We're standing on the shoulders of so many. And this one thing came to mind when we were quoting different people. I remember one day Miss Kathy called me the young Fannie Lou Hamer. But I can tell you right now, all of us are sick and tired, baby, of being sick and tired, and we getting ready to do it. So I just want to say that I appreciate our panel tonight. I don't know if we have any questions coming open, but we definitely are here in this fight, and we definitely are standing strong together as one unit on behalf of all of us. Adele, I don't know if we have questions, but feel free to open up the floor.
Someone has raised their hand, so I'm going to go ahead and take them off mute and allow them to ask their question. Somebody calling in on a Moto G Stylus, so I'm going to let them ask their question. Caller, you have the floor.
You may have to hit *6 in order to come off of mute.
Maybe they're trying to figure that out. All right.
Can they put it in the chat?
Yes, caller, I'm going to go ahead and remove your permission to talk again, but please, if you figure it out, feel free to raise your hand again, or put it in the chat or put it in the Q&A. Either way, that works for us. But I do have some questions for our panelists, and so my question to you tonight would be, and any one of you can answer, all of you can answer. We have plenty of time here. So my question is, what brought you into this work, and what keeps you coming back to this work?
I don't mind going because I would say that to be honest, I really thought that I was a good environmental steward. I thought that I was doing my part because I was recycling and I didn't buy styrofoam products, and you know, I was content and I had this conversational awareness, but I was not out really in the thick, really advocating for justice like I should have been. And it actually took Hurricane Katrina to change the trajectory of my civil rights advocacy to focus on environmental and climate justice. I really saw, and it really took me back to the days of Jim Crow segregation, because I didn't have to watch everything unfolding on television. I was actually living it every day. And you know, and I always tell people I lost two of my dearest friends to drowning death. So environmental and climate justice just shot to the forefront of advocacy work that I do. And then, you know, we all have to, I think we all have a moral obligation to leave the world better than we found it. And what the younger generations coming after us, what we're leaving for them to inherit is, I'm really ashamed, to be perfectly honest. I'm really ashamed, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm frightful of what we'll be leaving for them.
I'll chime in on this question. Or were you next, Dr. Treva?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, I live in a community, and I'm so glad that Miss Christine is on. Miss Christine is one of my mentors from McCormick, South Carolina, and we work together with the state of South Carolina with SC Works. And so prior to coming to Dogwood, I actually employed these companies as it relates to the Workforce Innovations Opportunity Act. And so I thought that I was doing a great thing by employing people in these communities, because this is the type of community that I currently live in. And so I thought that I was doing a great thing. And one day, one of the organizers here at Dogwood actually asked me if I wanted to support organizing in Greenwood County. And I was like, well, sure, what are you doing it on? And she said, Enviva. At that time, it was Colombo Energy. And I was like, sure, what are we doing it on? And so I didn't know the connection of what Enviva was. And so after I learned that, I got into this fight because realistically, I'm about 2 miles down the road currently from an Enviva plant myself. So I live this day in and day out. I breathe this day in and day out. There's a track that I'm hearing right now on the tracks as we're having this go on, as we're having this conversation. So I got into this fight blindly because I'm an organizer at heart, and I've been organizing for such a long time. But I'm staying in this fight because I'm an impacted community member working on behalf of not only myself, but these communities, and continuing to connect communities to the issue so that we can bring about collective liberation for the whole. That's why I'm here.
I'm here because it all draws me in for my love of people, for justice, and people having access and their rights being, people having their rights and knowing what those rights are. And also the healthcare issue. So those things collide all around the environment. And my hometown of Ada, Georgia, which I talk about, is that we're overburdened. And to know in that community, all those things were going on. I have a greater conscience of like Miss Kathy said, environmental stewardship, and people knowing what their rights are and what happens when they don't. And as an educator, it's like to drive that, to educate people, and to also fight for the rights. And what keeps me going is other people, other bold folks around me in the Concerned Citizens group who stand with me, we stand together at city council meetings, and we make a fuss, and we let the people know, and we keep pushing and fighting as volunteers for these things. And the fact that something can be done, that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we can win in Ada, Georgia. That means that Gloucester, Mississippi can win, that somebody else can win, and somebody will know how to fight. Why? Because we did. And that's what keeps me fighting.
That's awesome. Doc, you bad to the bone. We recording, so I'm gonna save my language and not do as much. And also, Mama Cassie on the call, and I don't need no calls after the fact. But I'm gonna put it this way: a bullet makes my butt itch. That's how I'm gonna put it. It's just, I'm telling you, it's a bullet get on my nerve. And can I tell y'all that industry has bullied the South, and we are majority Black, and I can't help but to understand the significance of that. And I can't stand a bullet because a bullet make my butt itch. So I ain't have no choice but to get involved and to do something about it, because I want my butt to stop itching. Now, I might not be the only one that's on this call that feel the same way. You might not put it in those terms, but you can't stand to have an underdog getting whooped up on, the most vulnerable, the unprotected getting whooped. And that's why I'm in this fight. And I guarantee you that's why you're in this fight as well. For some of us, to be honest with you, because we've been in this work and because we got a few degrees and this, that, and the other, we do have some privilege and some security. And so we don't necessarily identify in the same struggle with those who are struggling in this manner, because our zip code might be a little bit different than somebody else's. However, you still can't stand a bully. And you still see what this industry is bullying other people. I'm that one. Like, I can't stand a bully, and I still see what this industry is bullying other people. And guess what? Those people look like me. Some of them are my cousins. I've got aunties who live in these communities. Hell, if I ain't careful, my children will live in these communities. And my grandchildren will live in these communities. So I don't have an option. I got to fight. I got to fight so I can breathe, but I got to fight so that my legacy can continue to breathe. And we can overcome a bully.
All right. Brandon, do you want to answer or do you want me to move on to the next question? I wasn't sure if you wanted to have space to answer yourself.
No, I'll answer. So everybody said all the things, but because of the people. So I came into the work and I feel like I said the same things over and over. But really, before I learned about, well, this is the second issue I learned about involving environmental justice. But for a long time, I just thought it was about the polar bears drowning because the ice caps were melting, the glaciers were melting. That's what I thought environmental justice was. And of course, I was sad about the polar bears drowning. But I didn't know that Black people were suffering. Like, I had no clue that environmental justice was affecting folks that look like me, no clue. Until I went to Gloucester, not on this level like this, until I saw those same images that Rev showed you when I saw it live, when I was there in that mobile home park with Black folk, my cousins, aunties, grandma, and them. And so that is what keeps me in the work, because people live there and they look like me and I love people, but of course my Black folk. And so when I saw that it's an issue that in particular affects poor Black folk in the South, like, that's my fight. Put me in, coach. And so that's why I'm here, because I got to fight for my people, you know. And then I'm a tree hugger too, for real. I'm a Black hippie for real. So I could do much better, like Mama Kathy was saying, with reducing and reusing. I could do much better reducing my carbon footprint. But I have forever loved the forest. Couldn't nobody tell me when Disney came out that I wasn't the Black Pocahontas. Like, couldn't nobody tell me. Love the forest. So for Mama Nature and for my people, that's why I fight.
Woo. Thank you all for filling up my cup tonight. Woo. All right. Our next question. Do you all think that the environmental justice focus at the EPA will lead to anything good? Or are you worried that it will just lead to more egregious inaction?
I am worried that it will lead to more egregious inaction, but not because of the various rulings or even the implementation of policy or the mechanisms in which we get them. Here's why I'm worried. I'm worried because we give up and we don't stay consistent in our fight. I'm worried more about us than I am about what the government will do. We know what the government will do. They'll do whatever we tell them to do if we get together and make them do it. That's my worry. Can we get together and can we make the demands necessary so that they can put the policies in place and so that they can make put the mechanisms in place that brings us those policies that help our community. So for me, it's more of a call for us to be in action than it is their inaction.
And I have to add behind Reverend Malcolm that I feel that this is a right time for us to take action, like you said, to stay consistent and to push, fight, because like no time, we have about 2 years within this administration in which we have EJ for All, in which this is an initiative and it is a focus, and we can press the hand of the federal government by pressing together, because it's like this. We have the current urgency of now. We have to stay at this. Like Miss Carmela said, I can't breathe. And so because these initiatives are being pushed, and you have every different federal department putting an environmental justice department in there. And we just met with the environmental justice department as the concerned citizens of Cook County just last week. And we said, don't keep giving us lip service. We don't need more resources. We need action. Do something. Follow the guidelines. Stop overburdening us and providing these permits. I think if we continue to join together as a region, as individuals, telling our story, continually fighting, for applying pressure, we can get some wins over these next 2 years while we have the chance. But we have to keep acting like Reverend Malcolm said. It is time to keep fighting.
I actually want to jump up and shout, amen. But I will say that I echo what everyone has already said. And just, even if this is not in your backyard, a lot of this has been in my backyard, literally. 5 years after Katrina, I walked out my front door. In 8 minutes, I'm looking at sludge from the BP oil spill. There was a failing coal plant in my back door, less than 5 miles from my house. There was a failed carbon capture sequestration plant in my ratepayer district. So a good indicator of what's going to continue is to look back at your history. We've already seen the map of what happened during the slave fuel cotton trade. And the sad part about all of this money that we are giving to these industries, all of these subsidies that we're giving to fossil fuel companies, if we invest all of that money into clean, safe, renewable energy, we could avert the climate crisis could be averted. And it does not make any sense. It all comes down to greed.
Well, for the sake of time, I'm going to ask our last question. And so this work can feel very heavy. I know for me it does. And so I want us to spend these last few minutes talking about what's bringing you joy, who, what, when, where, or why. What is bringing you joy?
I'll hop on first. What brings me joy in this work? Having conversations like this, and every week that we've been having them, seeing different people on, being able to talk about people and bring people back around to being to talk about things from a different perspective. Having people like Brandy, taking time out of her day to be here with us. Dr. Treva was speaking from her experience, and being able to have these real conversations with real people about real impacts in their communities. For me, it's all real. And so we aren't playing any games with what we're doing. We aren't talking about things that are facades or things that aren't here. The time is now. We're living in the present, and we're presently doing the work. And this is what brings me joy, the fact that I'm not in this fight by myself. I'm able to call on Miss Kathy, reach her by the phone, reach Reverend Malcolm. These people that are on this call are people that I can call. And when I get tired in this fight, these are people who lift my spirit. So these are the people that bring me joy in this fight, and the ability to continue to do this work with them and on behalf of community.
What brings me joy in this fight?
Go
ahead.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
What brings me joy in this fight is pretty much like what Nico just said, us gathering together like this. And like I said, the people who haven't lost hope, who are living in these communities and living in my hometown, who stand up, that gives me hope in this fight, that our power is presence. And if we keep applying pressure, that there is a brighter day. Like I was echoing earlier today, I was talking about the Women of Brewster Place. I don't know if y'all remember that movie. It's old, but you keep cracking at that wall. and I can see a glimmer of sunlight shining through that wall. So we're getting some cracks in that wall, but if we keep hitting together, the wall will fall. And that gives me hope.
There's y'all know I'm a preacher. Yeah, I don't always act like it, but I always am it. There's a saying that we say in the Black church: this joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Environmental racism, environmental stressors try to hinder and take away our joy. Our determinant and our faith kicks in and says, this joy I have, the world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. In essence, I know that my joy is not an external experience. My joy is internal. Ain't a damn thing you gonna do with my joy. My joy is my joy. And I don't care what you do. You can't strip me of my joy. Because if you strip me of my joy, then I've allowed you to strip me of my freedom. I've got the freedom to be happy. And that, by all means, I'm going to be happy. If that means I got to get out in the street and wave my hands in the air like I just don't care, I'm going to be happy. When I see my brothers and my sisters out here getting killed by police and being stifled by a system, oh no, we going to do something about it, because I'll be damned, I'm going to be happy. So this joy I have, this world didn't give it to me, and this world can't take it away. There's no environmental racism that can come my way that can strip me of my joy, because this joy I had, environmental racism didn't give it to me. I'd be damned if environmental racism is going to come and take it away from me. I'm happy, and I've got joy, not because something external is happening, but because I'm happy on the inside. I know who I am. I'm free. And I will continue to fight for my freedom. I've got a right to breathe. I've got a right to clean air. I've got a right to clean water. I've got a right to healthy food. These things make me happy. These things bring me joy. And this joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. So I'll fight for my happiness, and I'll fight for my joy. Thank you.
Brandy, did you answer?
I did not. I had a little connectivity issue just now. I'm back. Just being like, I think you said it, Nico. Being together with other folks, and Doc said, who haven't lost hope, and to be reminded that the people have the power, because ain't no power like the power of the people. The power of the people don't stop. So that brings me joy. Like when we gather together and it's like, oh yeah, we got some more people, and then some more people come, like, oh yeah, we got some more people, and some more people come, oh, we lit. Like we got an army of folks. And so if we just link together, then the power just grows, and ain't no power like the power of the people. So we can achieve everything we fighting for. We can keep our forests, we can get clean air so we can breathe. And just to know that it's achievable, that hope that I'm able to hold on to, that brings me joy.
Thank you, everyone, so much. I am so grateful to be in this space with you every Thursday. I am so grateful for everyone who showed up tonight. I really hope you will join us again on June 30th. We will be screening a short film called about conservation economies, thanks to the PD Indian Tribe, and Reverend Leo Woodbury will be joining us as a panelist that night. So I really hope you can join us that night. And I'm going to turn it back to Reniko to close us out.
This evening has been a powerful evening. We have absolutely amazing people. I hope that you all recognize we will not be here next Thursday, because a lot of these people on this call will be at the USCAN meeting in Charlotte. So we'll be up there with Brandy doing good trouble. So we will be at USCAN. We will be handling business on behalf of climate, but we will be back on the 30th of June, and we will have Reverend Woodbury with us. And with that, I say bless you all and good night, but if Brandy would like to do the Asada Shakur piece, please feel free.
Well, all right. Y'all gonna repeat after me?
Yeah,
Okay. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
it is our
It is
It is
our
our
duty
duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It
It
is
is
our duty to win.
win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have
We
nothing
have
to
nothing to
lose
lose
but
but
our
our
change.
chain.
Amen. I
Amen.
love y'all.
See y'all. Not this coming Thursday, next Thursday, the 30th. Reimagining our economy through land conservation. With that, y'all, we love y'all. We continue to lean in. We continue to fight. We are in this fight. We are one. Everybody, y'all have a good night.
Good night.
night.